Yeah, go. Do it. Do it. Where's my water?
I have been trying to reach you for a couple of days now.
Hey,
I don't know who that
we're
is.
wasting time.
Hello.
It's your friend.
It's someone. Let me put on the.
I'm eating my dinner. I can't see if
Where's the
people are
voice
here.
Yeah, me neither.
So basically, what we're doing.
Oh. Our
No.
expert setup isn't setting up
Yes.
expertly.
It's good. What is that?
It's just talent.
Okay. We're doing.
Alright.
Because it's 2020, we're doing Worst Enemies Top 20. Meaning each of our top 10 movies at the moment. Each movie's getting like 2-ish minutes.
2 minutes, because we only have like an hour.
2 minutes.
Oh my god. Sorry.
We need another clock.
There's a clock. There's a clock on my phone.
Okay.
We're good. Oh my god.
Okay, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I'd love to go first.
We're going to
Let
switch off,
me-
right?
Yeah, we'll switch off. Let me
Okay.
get to my notes. And, okay, it's still playing. Good.
This is brought to you by the calf and the sandwich
Yeah.
that was made there.
Thank you, calf sandwich. Pudding. My number.
Oh, did you rank them? I don't have.
No, I didn't rank them. I'm just
Okay.
saying, like, okay, I'll just say we're going like 10 to 1. Like, whatever. We're not ranking.
Just
Hi,
top
Kyle! Hi, Kyle!
10. Hi, Kyle.
Friend! Okay.
We're doing our top 20.
Top 20 movies, 10 each. One of my favorite
Oh, sorry,
movies
I
right
looked
now
at it.
is A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood with
No, I
Tom Hanks as my other favorite person ever, Mr. Rogers. Did you see it? You didn't
Nope.
see it? Great movie. It came out last year. I want Tom Hanks to win the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. I don't even know if he's nominated. I don't really care, but if anyone should win, it should
He's
be
the
him.
supporting actor?
Yeah, because it's
Oh,
not
yeah, it's
about
about the guy.
it's about the journalist. It's about a journalist who is struggling a lot with loving his dad and kind of like forgiving his dad for a lot of stuff that his dad did when he was a kid. And during this time, this journalist is meeting with Mr. Rogers and just talking to him, trying to just like get an interview in, but Mr. Rogers kind of takes him under his wing and teaches him about forgiveness and love and about how to be a better father than the one who raised him.
Mm-hmm.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Good. Tom Hanks is amazing. I love you, Tom.
Tom. If you're watching.
Wish.
One of mine is The Intern with Anne Hathaway and Robert De Niro. Just because that one just makes me feel good. I listen to the score when I'm doing homework. It's great. I have pictures of it on my wall. I think it's really cute. I think that I like the fact that at the end, spoiler, I don't know if anyone cares, Anne Hathaway and her husband, he's having an affair, and she doesn't just go like, I'm gonna divorce him. Like, she's willing to give him a second chance in the end. So that's really cool.
What did you say, Kyle?
He said they're great movies.
Aw.
Yeah.
You're darn
Um,
tootin', boy.
And, I mean, Nancy Myers is great at set design and using red. It's beautiful.
I thought
There's
you meant
that.
like a red camera. I was about to be like,
No, she films on an iPhone 4.
Is it my turn now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next movie, Shawshank Redemption.
Oh!
I first watched that movie about 2 years ago, and in the span of a week, I probably watched it like 3 times because I
Was that
loved
here?
it. Yeah. I watched it for the first time here at Biola. It just like I was just alone one night in my room. We weren't roommates yet, and I saw it on Netflix. So I was like, "This looks cool. I think I've heard about it." And by the end of it, I was like bawling. It's a great movie, full of hope. A+. 5 out of 5 stars. I don't really know what else to say. It's a great movie. It's definitely the only Stephen King movie I've ever seen. So, he wrote the short story, and then they adapted
short
it.
story. I can ingest a Stephen King short story.
Actually, I'm so sorry. No, I've seen a Stephen King movie. I saw Misery. Misery's good, but it's not on my top 10.
Okay. Wait, I want to switch. I have to switch some of mine around. I'm piggybacking on that. I don't know why that wasn't already on my list. But yeah. The genius of his... So that's my number 2. The genius of his plan, first of all, is beautiful. What he does, his shoes, amazing. What else has happened? Just when he locks himself in the room and he turns on the record, and then he educates all the prisoners. He gets them a library.
Mm-hmm.
His persistence, it's beautiful. And then they get their boat at the end. They're just in a better version of Survivor. It's not Survivor. It's Survivor, but it's just friends.
It's like retirement.
It's beautiful.
Retirement after being in prison for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And also it just talks, it's a cool movie because, I think in America, there's just a stigma of going to prison and being a prisoner. We don't really understand what it does to people, especially incarceration and
the devastation.
They don't really get into mass incarceration in the movie, but they talk a little bit about it being institutionalized and it leaving prison. You really don't have anywhere else to go, so you might as well just go back to jail because our country isn't great at rehabilitation.
Yeah.
It's just a great movie.
I'm a sucker for sadness in movies. I don't want it. Well, sometimes it's okay. I don't want it to end sad, but them showing. Oh shoot, what's his name? What's his name? I feel bad.
Andy?
No. The guy who told me.
Red? No.
Well, anyway,
The
old
guy.
man. What happens to him is really sad, but it's what you were saying. It just really shows that. Just with a B. I don't remember. Oh man, I feel terrible.
Okay, my next movie, Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
I thought you were gonna say Secret Life of Pets, and I was like, Marley's.
No, unfortunately not.
No,
Secret Life. Okay. The Secret Life of Walter Mitty is a really good movie. That's a movie that my whole family loves. When we watched it for the first time, we just all loved it. So it's a movie that I pretty much watch it maybe once a year if I'm home and it's on. Then we're just this is the movie that we're gonna watch. It's a great movie. The soundtrack's really great. I actually read the short story when I was in high school. The short story is really different from the movie, but I think the movie was better than the short story because it's beautiful. It makes me want to go to Iceland. Not really Greenland.
Let's do it.
My mom wanted to go to Iceland instead of Ireland.
You can just change one of the letters, in Atlantis.
That's true. Actually, I think Alex and Krista, when they fly to Ireland for the summer, they're gonna stop in either Greenland or Iceland or somewhere else entirely.
In the middle of the ocean. They're gonna discover a new island.
Maybe. Hopefully
They can call that one Bellatrix. Whatever.
But yeah, it's a great movie. It's just a feel-good movie. It's just, and it's just it's really cool. Really sweet. Yours.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm trying to figure out which ones I have to kick off now, because I already kicked off 2. No, I kicked off 1. We're good. My third one is Baby Driver, because I know a lot of people don't like it because it's so violent, and I wouldn't mind if it was less violent. However, I do like that all the bad guys, spoiler, they all die, except for Baby. He doesn't die, but he does pay his price. He goes to prison. It's not like he escapes, but then he ends up with Lily James, another great aspect of this movie, and then Edgar Wright and his song, coordinating with the gunshots and just like the movements. It's just beautiful. Love it. It's a great time. 10 out of 10. I also have pictures of that on my wall.
Oh yeah.
All of these. Oh, I took Mamma Mia too off my list.
We'll talk about that.
No.
My next one is Kubo and the Two Strings.
Mm.
Used to be, I do have a top 3.
Mhm.
This is number 6 on just my general list. Like after 3, these are all just like my top 10. So it doesn't really matter what number they're at.
So
But
were those your top 3? The
No.
ones that you just said?
these were like just in the top 10.
Mhm.
Kubo and the Two Strings used to be in my top 3.
Mhm.
And it's not anymore just because, well, I guess I'll talk about it for the number 1 movie that I have. But anyway, I might have to switch things.
Do your things, Kyle. Yeah. Thanks
I
for
think he's
popping
ready.
in.
Yeah, Kubo
Well,
and the Two Strings is a great
I
movie.
can listen later.
It's a stop motion animation by Leica Studios, and it's so good. Like this is another movie that I usually when I like a movie I'll watch it like a billion times afterwards just because like I like watching it and it's fun. So when I watched Kubo and the Two Strings, I remember like to me it's an animated movie even though it's stop motion. It is stop motion animation.
Yeah.
It's one of those movies that is geared for family audiences, is geared for children, and yet goes into really deep, like, interesting ideas
Yeah.
that allow for children kind of understand things. And in the end, just like a minor spoiler alert, the happy ending could be happier because of what we've had before in other like animated movies, like in Cinderella or Sleeping Beauty. Like there's a good happily ever after where like, you know, the bad person's defeated and the person's reunited with the one that they love. But in Kubo and the Two Strings, it's more of like, you know, this is just the reality of things. Like sometimes we can't save the people that we love, but that doesn't mean that they're gone. It just means that we'll see them again eventually. But for now, we have to, you know. And also, redemption of the villain is really good in the end. It's
Oh, yeah.
great movie.
Love that.
Great.
That one should have won the Academy Award. What
It
the
sh-
heck?
Listen, I
That's
love
a different-
Bigfoot.
That's a different...
I watched Missing Link.
I'm
I
gonna
didn't
go.
like it. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Love Hugh Jackman.
I feel bad.
Jack Galifianakis. Zoe Saldana. Great. My number... Are we at 4? My number 4...
I'm gonna be at 5.
Okay, yeah, so I'm 4. For nostalgia reasons, I mean, I still love it now, but mostly nostalgia, and it just reminds me of my family and my brothers. It's Lion King 1.5, because that's one that we would always watch on the little screens that we would have in our car behind the seat back on the headrest, and we just watched it all the time, and we just always quote it, and it's great. And every time it like almost always comes up, at least like Jake and I always say, it's either that bug I ate or I'm having an epiphany. And it's just great. And that's the first Lion King movie I ever saw.
I think
I saw
me
that
too.
I saw that years before I saw the first Lion King. And I was like, I don't like this. He freaking dies? This is sad. And I didn't like the second one.
I think I watched Lion King first, but we had Lion King 1.5, so I'd watch that more. So I only really
Oh, it's on Disney.
yeah.
I was like, guess what? Yeah.
My next movie is Coco. That is a great movie. It's hard to like explain. Like I feel like people are kind of universally, especially if it's like a Pixar movie, they're like, yeah, it's great. Like it's a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
For me,
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy it because I'm not Mexican. I'm Puerto Rican. But it's cool to see
Like,
not
Caucasian
not
people.
Caucasian people, no. But
Which
like
is-
yeah,
this is the
it's
first time.
true. Like it's cool to see people on the screen who, I mean, for a majority of it, they're skeletons, but, like, the people who are alive, they have, like, darker skin, and they kind of look the way that I do, and, like, that side of my family does. It's just, like, cool, because I remember, as a kid, I would always, like, I never had a good perception of my tan skin, because I never saw, like, other women who looked like me on the screen. So, like, it's just so cool to get to know that, like, kids who are growing up today get to see that. And especially, I think the main reason that I love it so much is because I saw, when it first came out, there's a tweet that went around that I think the director retweeted too, and it was this little boy who was singing Remember Me to a picture of his little sister who actually died. And he was like 3 or 4 years old, and he had like a little guitar, and he was singing the song. And it was like, I started bawling, and the parent said, like, you know, thank you so much for giving our child, like, a song and a story that will allow him to, like, remember his sister, like, in a way that isn't sad. It's more like, just remember, hopeful, and just remembering the good times. You know, a lot of people in the Christian community didn't watch Coco because it's about Dia de los Muertos, which I understand, and I know people who, like, specifically told me that they're not gonna, like, let their kids watch it. And my only thing that I would say to them is, like, you know, I get it, and it's fine, like, that's your parenting however you want. Personally, for me, I see it as less, you know, Dia de los Muertos isn't just, like, satanic. Just, it's, especially for, like, I feel like traditional Mexican families, it's a lot more just about, like, celebrating your family and being with your family and remembering those who passed on and celebrating their lives and, like, not forgetting who they were, which is what Coco is about. It's, like, the importance of not losing the people, like, not totally losing the people that you loved.
That's good. And that's not, like, all that the movie has to offer. It's not just, like, a PSA for Dia de los Muertos.
Yeah.
Wow, I said that. Anyway, my number 5 is The Railway Man, which not a lot of people know. Colin Firth is in it.
Why haven't I seen it?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Probably, I don't know. It's on my wall too. There's 2 pictures.
Where?
No. Yeah.
Oh, I see one of them.
One's
I don't
an
know
umbrella, and one's the one under Pete's Dragon, which is also on my list.
Okay.
But The Railway Man is about a guy who is looking for someone that really just wronged him during World War II when he was captured by the Japanese. And all of these are gonna have spoiler alerts, probably. But the spoiler at the end, like, he's trying to find him so that he can exact his revenge on him. So he takes the guy and he puts him in the cage that he was in, and he keeps him in there, and then I've only seen it a few times. He's probably gonna kill him at some point, or just do something terrible. But he ends up forgiving him, and it's really cool. And then at the end, there's in the credits, there's stuff that says that because it's based on a true story, how they're friends, and they were friends until they died. And it's just like, it's a crazy story of forgiveness. Like, this guy, he waterboarded him. Wow. He made him look like such a terrible person. He just did so much bad to him. And Colin Firth's character was looking for him for years. And he finally finds him, and he ends up not exacting the revenge he wants, and it's just really cool. There's that.
I'm at my number 5.
I don't know. You were just at your number 5. You didn't?
Yes, that's right. So technically I'm at my number 4.
Oh, because you're going up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope.
No, I'm at my number 5.
I just remember number 5.
Whatever. Okay, this is
Just
my
keep
number
going.
5. I'm just gonna keep going.
You guys can count.
Number 5 is A Monster Calls. Wait.
You got 2 minutes.
A Monster Calls. This is the book. I don't know if it was a movie before it was a book. I think it was a book before it was a movie. Yeah. Anyway, Monster Calls is written by my favorite author right now, Patrick Ness. I love you, Patrick. You're so cool. He also wrote the Chaos Walking series, which is probably my favorite series ever. But A Monster Calls, I watched it on a plane in Ireland, or going to Ireland. It was about 3 a.m., and I was in between 2 people that I don't know and will never see again. And I was, like, bawling my eyes out. And I was like, it's 3 a.m. If these girls wake up right now, they're going to think I'm the weirdest person on the planet. It's not well known. I remember I saw a trailer for it when it first came out a couple years ago. It's got Liam Neeson in it, I think. Yeah, he's the monster. It's basically about this little boy who's struggling with his mom has cancer, and she's at like the very last stages of cancer, so they're kind of, the next treatment is kind of like the life or death situation for her. And he doesn't have any friends, and he's just so angry and struggling at school and just in life. And one night a monster appears to him in his dreams and says, like, I'm going to tell you 3 stories, and on the 4th night you're going to tell me your truth, like your biggest truth. And just, it's such a beautiful story of just realizing, of grief, of realizing like truth about yourself, and then like overcoming sadness and overcoming anger and just self-love. And it's a great movie and a great book. You should really, if anyone wants to borrow it, please do.
Don't come to our room.
Don't come
You
to
can DM us.
Yeah.
I will call campus AP on you.
It's got
So fast.
pictures. But yeah.
Alright, my next one is Spider-Man Into the SpiderVerse.
Whoa, that's my next one. Okay, cool.
Cool. So
I'll piggyback.
there, I mean, if you haven't seen it, which you should, I have it. You can DM us, and if you pass a set of tests, you can come over and watch it, or we can go to a neutral location and watch it. But it's just so cool. It's just so freaking cool, and it's, I don't even, like, for me, the word cool is just, it's just a word that means it's so amazing, and I just love it so much for, like, all the good things. I just, like, they're great. I use that a lot when I'm journaling. Today was so cool, and you're so cool, God. And it's just, and the end credit scene, oh my gosh.
Oscar!
Yeah.
Oscar is
The
out.
animation is super cool, and it's pioneering. It's definitely first of its kind. The characters are great. It's just, I don't even know, like, how, just, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
And it's visually great, story great, characters great, soundtrack great.
Phenomenal. It's so good.
Not to be basic, but Sunflower was in my top 100 for 2019. But the Spanish mashup.
It's so good.
Yeah.
That's all that's my next movie.
You just have to watch it. It's so cool. I have pictures of that freaking on my wall. Do you want to say what about the picture on the bottom next to Robert De Niro?
Dude, the scene. The scene where Miles is jumping off the building in his Spider-Man costume for the first time and just like fully realizing his powers. The scene where it's like he's upside down, but it looks like he's falling up. My friend sent me the script. She found it online and she like sent it to me. Do you remember what it said? I don't remember how it was explained, but I just remember being like, that's beautiful.
Okay.
Like the way that they explained it in the script.
I don't want to botch it, but my dad also sent it to me, and it was similar to the fact that like Miles jumps off the building, but he's not falling down, he's rising up into it.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's such it's such a cool movie. It's definitely a movie that, like, I watched it. So I watched it on Friday night with Meg did. Yeah, we watched it on Friday night. And
was that after Children of Men? Because you need
we watched like this really sad movie, so we were like, let's just watch like Into the SpiderVerse again. And I just, I never, like, I love it when movies just always give me the same feeling that I got when I first watched it. And with Into the SpiderVerse, I don't think I'll ever lose that feeling of just like, yes, like this is such a crazy good movie. And it's like, you could just see you just know all of the love and care that went into making it. It's cool that Miles is half Puerto Rican too. I love that. It was cool, like, getting to watch it. When I watched it with my parents, it was on Netflix by that point, so we were watching it at home. My mom didn't really like it as much. She was just like, yeah, it was a good movie, like, it was fine. My dad, though, like, when Notorious B.I.G. started playing, he was like, oh my gosh, like, that's so crazy. And he just, like, he loved it. So it was, you know, like, it's one of those movies that, like, I told my family, like, we need to watch it. You need to watch it. Like, it's so good. And I'm an animation person. Like, I love animation. I love children's stuff, like, we both do. But, like, my family doesn't really enjoy it. But I'm always telling them, like, we need to watch these movies. Like, they're so good. And that was one of the movies that my dad's like, we really should stop doubting you. Because, like, the movies that you suggest are great. And I was like, I know, Dad. Like, what the heck? It's a great movie.
But you don't suggest zombies, which is good.
It's really close. It's not in my top 3, but it's like, it's my number 4.
Your top 10.
It's in my top 10.
Considering how many movies you've seen.
But I'm gonna say what my top 3 is, and you'll understand. Okay, you'll understand why it's not my top 3.
I saw one of yours.
Yeah.
I think I saw all of them. My next one is... Sorry. The Grand Budapest Hotel. That's... Well, okay, first of all, I haven't seen all the Wes Anderson movies, so clearly I'm not a diehard fan. But of the ones I've seen, that one's my favorite. It's just... Okay, it's dumb to say it's visually pleasing, because obviously it's visually pleasing if it's Wes Anderson. Saoirse Ronan is in it. It's just, it's the same thing with all of his movies. The story's so just so specific and unique, and the comedy's just great. It's so subtle. It's more in action, and like someone just like walking away, or just like a single like line of dialogue. I don't know. That one's my favorite. So is Ralph Fiennes in it, so it's pretty good. Voldemort.
Oh.
Redemption. The Flash from Spider-Man. He's the boy. He draws on his mustache.
He's great.
And sorry, I'm getting all the notifications from my teachers. She sent me a message on Canvas. Oh no! Okay. I'm done.
Speaking of Ralph Fiennes.
Ralph Fiennes!
Now we're into my top 3. The first of my top 3. There's no number 1. They're all my favorite. So the first of them is Prince of Egypt.
Who was he?
He was Ramesses. I'm pretty sure he's Ramesses. He's the pharaoh. Ramesses. No, it's Ramesses.
Ramesses?
Yeah.
Never knew that. I'm sorry, I wasn't in Bible school my whole life.
Whatever. I wasn't in It was my whole life. I love Prince of Egypt. It's another. That's why In the SpiderVerse isn't in my top 3. It's because Prince of Egypt is, in my opinion, probably the greatest animated movie of all time. Because it's visually stunning. The story's amazing. I think being a Christian just kind of makes it better for me, for us, because, people can really appreciate it, and it's so cool that because it's a biblical story, people appreciate it, and they put so much care into, figuring out the story and understanding it, because it is shared by, 3 prominent religions. It's shared by Christianity, it's shared by Judaism, and then it's shared by Muslims. And so they had to accommodate for all 3 of those different religions, and they didn't just pander it to Christians or to Israel or to people who Muslim people. How do you say it? I don't want to be rude. I don't know how to say it. To Muslims, basically. But instead they talk to dozens, I think hundreds of different biblical or just spiritual theological people who know that story inside and out from all 3 religions, which I that's really cool in my opinion, that it wasn't just for Christians. It's for everyone, and it's a beautiful story.
Songs are great.
Songs, dude, the plagues are a bop.
Hey!
Who is that?
That's your wife.
Hi, Megan. Hello. Yeah, we're
Good.
talking about Prince of Egypt right now.
No,
It is so good.
yeah, so we're in our top, the last 3.
What did she
She said hello.
say?
Should we wave? Can you do that? I waved at you.
Can you hear us okay, Megan?
Yeah, oh my gosh. I wasn't even thinking about that. Whatever. They can read our lips. Okay, my next one is actually one I just saw last night for the 3rd time. Peanut Butter Falcon is in my... Yeah, baby. Peanut Butter Falcon is great. It's hard to make. I think feel-good movies are really attributed to slightly cheesy and not as much serious. It's just, it's a feel-good movie, so you could it's just fun and really light. But this one has great themes. It brings in people with Down syndrome, and the actor who played Zach is the guy that they were actually writing it for, because they, Tyler and, Michael, I don't want to get it wrong. I feel so bad if it's wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Michael. They wrote it because Tyler met Zach, and Zach was like, I just want to be an actor, but there's, that's my biggest dream. And Tyler just was talking about how that's not really, I don't know what to tell you, that's not really a big thing in Hollywood right now, I'm really sorry about that kind of thing. And Zach just says, why don't you guys just make one? And then he's like, genius, what? Yeah, so they did. They worked on it. They thought it was going to take a year. They're going to work for the year, and then they get it cranked out. It took them 6 years.
Wow.
But they got it. It's so good. Because it touches on themes that just are very serious, and things, and even angles you don't really think about, because with Dakota Johnson's character, she's very caring towards him, but Shia LaBeouf kind of goes, butts heads with her, because she's kind of babying him, even though he's very capable. He can put on his own shirt, Zach can, but she's like, I'll put on his shirt, and Shia LaBeouf's like, no, don't do that, he can do it himself. And so I would have never thought about that, but it makes complete sense. Like, yeah, I read something as for media literacy. This is probably going over time, but about we were talking about language and perception and how disabled and differently abled have very different connotations. I'm like, wow, because disabled means you're like completely enabled. Or it's very detrimental, but no, it's great. And then yeah, but it has a happy ending, so it's great. Oh, sorry, spoiler alert. Sorry, those have been very prevalent in this, so I forgot to say it. But those are also on my wall.
Peanut butter falcons on your wall?
I got 2.
Where?
On the left. Hey.
Oh, I
hi.
see it.
Hey, you should have seen it already.
Huh.
Just kidding. I'm sorry.
Don't look at your wall. Number 2 for Mara Lisa is Rogue One.
Yes.
Star Wars story.
Yeah.
Dude, I will die on this hill, man. The Rogue One is the best Star Wars movie, in my opinion, but also just in general. No, I'm kidding. It is such a great movie. It's definitely one of the ones that isn't really cared about as much, or I think because there's not a.
She goes Star Wars in all caps.
The prequels. I mean, I think any Star Wars movie is decisive, except for like freaking Empire Strikes Back. Maybe like everyone agrees that that's like a really great movie. It's just like Rogue One to me. Star Wars is so much about hope and about like it's my favorite franchise out there right now. Like more than Marvel, more than like honestly more than like Disney,
none of
just
those
in general.
I guess.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful movie, and it's like, oh, it's just so sad. Like, it's one of those movies that I love watching, but like I have to prepare to watch because I know I'm gonna be crying. Like, I almost watched it a few days ago, but I was like, I'm not in that mood. I need to be in the mood of like sadness in order to watch it, so that I can. But oh my gosh, the ending, like 15 minutes of that movie in and of itself is so good. When you got like Darth Vader just killing all those like rebel soldiers, and each one is like, you know, they have the Death Star plans, which is like their hope, their last hope of like being saved from this horrible tyrannical ruler, and they're giving it to each other, and like the next guy behind you, the guy who just handed it to you, is already getting cut in half by Vader. But it's like they're literally like, they have their hope in their hands, literally giving it from one person to the other in the hopes that they're gonna like be saved, and then they do it, and it's like, yes, like that's what I'm talking about. It's such a great movie, and it perfectly goes right into like A New Hope, which is another like one of my favorite Star Wars movies too. Rogue One is when Darth Vader first like appeared, and like the red lightsaber like came out, and it just see his silhouette. Dude, it's so good. It's such a great movie. I love it.
We need to watch that again, because do you remember when I watched it with you freshman year, and it was super late and I was just tired, and I was like, I don't want to be here right now. It wasn't that I didn't like the movie, I was just like, this is 11 p.m.
Yeah.
in freshman year of college, and I was like, I'm ready to go to bed. What's happening? I think I was on set also that day.
Yeah, probably.
Back when I was on set. Bleh.
Great
Okay.
movie. Love it.
My next two are Disney live action films, so just buckle up. There's a hair on me. Oh my gosh. There's more. Christopher Robin, which is on my wall as well. Basically, well, just because I really love Winnie the Pooh, just because the characters are so, the toys are so, they just really face like real problems, and Eeyore's just so sad, and Piglet's just worried, like they're just all such a mess, but it's so cute. And there's kind of in the same way of Grand Budapest Hotel, how there's really just like quick humor. It's just really good. And that's kind of my dream. When I was growing up, I was like, I just want my toys to freaking come to life and play with me. And it's visually stunning. At first I was like, I don't know if I want them to look like that. But in the setting that they're in, I'm just looking at the pictures right now. In the setting that it's in, it would look weird if they didn't look like how they do.
Yeah.
If they looked like how they do
Like
today.
Sonic the Hedgehog in like the new movie. He
Well,
doesn't.
that's kind of...
Yeah, but he's like still super like cartoony.
Oh, like the new one. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought you meant the original.
Oh yeah.
I was like, nothing should ever look like that. Please, no, spare me. Yeah, that's my... And I don't really love the ending, just because I kind of... I wasn't there for the ending. When I watch it, I'm not there for the ending. I'm there for everything else. It's good time. Next. Final.
My final, which is in the top 3, so it's not just my number 1, is 1917.
But
What?
I love you too.
Bye, Megan.
Oh my god.
I'm just kidding. Bye. 1917 is probably one of my favorite movies ever. And you haven't seen it.
Nope.
Yeah. We need to watch it. Maybe next week. Anyway. Great.
That's what I said last week.
It's a really great movie. I was really going into it. I realized, like, you know, out of my top 3, 2 of them are about war, which is like interesting. But 1917, if you don't know what it is, it's really new. It just came out last year, like late last year. It's basically about like these 2 soldiers in World War I who have to deliver a message like across the battlefield, so they have to travel together across the battlefield in order to get to another battalion and tell them to stop their attack in the morning. So the way that it's shot is basically like a one shot, which is just basically means that the camera never like switches to like behind a person and then it's all one shot. It's crazy.
The 180 line doesn't exist.
It doesn't. It kind of does actually,
Well,
like the way that the camera moves, but
You
it's
see it.
insane. Like how well they did it. Like I never really care about the. I mean, I do care how a movie looks, but like I don't care about cinematography that much.
Yeah.
Just because like that's, I don't really care or understand it. But and usually if I don't like a movie, I'll kind of say like
It was
cinematography
beautiful.
was great. But with this movie, the cinematography was great and the story is amazing. It's just such a great. It's such a great movie. It's not just like a great war movie. It's a great movie. I thought that the one shot was just gonna be like a shtick, and I was worried going into it that like, oh, it's just not gonna. I don't think it's gonna like play into the story. Like I think it's just gonna be like a, ooh, look what we did. Like that's cool, but it needed to be a one shot. It needed like it. You couldn't have this movie any other way except if it was that style. It's a great movie.
Just to be that person, and just one of my favorite hobbies of being playing devil's advocate. So if cinematography doesn't matter, could you watch the new Cats and not care? That's not really cinematography.
No, it's just how it looks.
That's just editing.
Yeah,
Well, it kind of is.
It's more of the visual effects.
Well, that's in editing. They had to edit those in. But that's
It's not that I don't care about cinematography. It just does. I think it just doesn't matter to me as much as like the story.
Oh
does.
yeah.
And I if I don't like story, that's when I notice the cinematography because I'm bored and I'm like,
that's
what
a
else?
Cool shot.
Yeah, what else about this
Tuning out
is cool? So yeah.
My last one on the wall. Well, I didn't mention the other one that's on the wall because it's not on the list anymore. Still love it. Not top 10 anymore. Is Pete's Dragon. Because, first of all, this isn't saying much because the original is just all over the place.
That's my number 11.
And it's really cute. Oh my gosh, the beginning to the end, it's adorable. The kid is amazing. Oaks. I don't remember his last name. I don't remember how to pronounce his last name. The dragon, Elliot, he just reminds me of a cute dog, and he's adorable, and he's a freaking dragon, and it's so cool. The girl's name is Natalie, and that's the only time that I've acknowledged being having a similar name, because anytime, usually it's like someone that sucks, and I'm like, oh, dang it, why I gotta suck? And, I mean, it's majorly for visual, I mean, stories, it's super cute, and it's action-y, and because he's a dragon, obviously, so he has fire, so it's great. And Bryce Dallas Howard, amazing. The guy, Carl Urban, he's in Thor Ragnarok. He's the gatekeeper.
Oh yeah.
He's the bad guy, or he's the antagonist.
Oh my gosh,
I'd say.
yeah.
He's the A-plot antagonist for
That's
you.
so funny.
For you, screw managers. And I just want, I saw that at, the El Capitan in Hollywood. So cool. Really good. 10 out of 10, obviously.
That's all mine.
That's all mine. Do you have any, like, what are they called?
Honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions. I had on here Saving Mr. Banks, but that was just because I was reaching for a 10th. I don't know if it's one of my favorites. Yeah, I enjoy watching it. Ice Age, mostly for nostalgia too. It's just something that it just makes me happy. I don't care if it makes other people unhappy. It makes me happy. That's all I care about.
I'm trying to think of my honorable mentions. I don't know, all the other Star Wars movies. Oh, Last Jedi. That's a good one. That's probably my honorable mentions too. Frozen 2.
Oh, Frozen 2. Frozen 2 was on my list. And then I think it's more... I think that's like number 11. It's kind of going back and forth between that and... Pete's Dragon. I think those ones are swapping in and out. Just because, especially right now, I think if I watched that when I was 18, I'd be like, meh, yeah, I liked it. But, yeah. I think I swapped it out for this because I was like, it's more of a seasonal thing. Why I'm so in love with it right now. But it'll last. Oh, Mamma Mia 2, which is the final movie that's freaking on my wall. And that was on my list for a hot second. And it's just not anymore. It's up there. It's in the top 25. For sure.
That's in 2025. That's when we'll do that one.
Yeah. Give us a few years. Once we've made it, and you guys will have shirts with their faces on it. Can your dad make those?
Probably. Yeah, he can.
Sweet. What else?
I don't know.
We can banter. Banter!
Thank you for watching. That's.
I hardly know her. I can serenade her. If we were doing shows, I was thinking about just like throwing a show in there.
Throwing a show?
Just being like, yeah. Freaking you ran along.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you stop it?
Yeah.
What?
Are we done?
No. We're still bantering.
Well, I have to do homework,
What?
so
I thought we were running out the clock.
no.
Well, I could talk to everyone for another. I will thank all the people. Anne Hathaway. First of all, Nancy Myers, Anne Hathaway, Robert De Niro. Shoot, what's her name? She's so famous. Oh my gosh. I forgot everyone in that movie. Oh, the little girl, hilarious, so good. I can't name all these people. I'm so tired. I'm just like, someone's gonna come in last second. I do have to go soon. But yeah, this will probably be around the time that this will happen. I say to no one, it is 6:26, and it is the end of that. It's the end of this. Oh my gosh. And so hopefully this one will not just be deleted forever like the one we recorded last week, which was probably better. That was God saying no. No one needs to see you freaking sticking like what ornaments in other people's mouths.
That's to give you a look at what we did.
We just did a bunch of YouTube challenges. It was a good time.
Yep. Alright. Should I end it?
Yeah.
Bye.
Wait, no. Normally it prompts.